Hello, it's that time of the week and we're gonna discuss Barcelona and Madrid, necessary because it's going wrong for them, we need to find out why. Sevilla, top of La Liga of course. Unai Emery, is it a revolution what he's doing at Arsenal? And I suggest a couple of names that perhaps most of you have not heard of, but will definitely make an impact soon in European football. Let's start at the top from Sevilla. Sevilla are having an extraordinary season. They are on the 17th game of the campaign, but they don't seem to be affected by tiredness right now. And of course, results, 4 consecutive victories in the league, for instance, are helping them to go through any doubt in their minds if they are tired. They have found the perfect combination in the lineup, especially in the league, of course. And that's down to sometimes, and it happens, accidents. Gonalons, for instance, Amadou, 2 centre midfielders that Machin have signed and wanted in the team, well, they got injured. So then he had to improvise, and that is a little bit sometimes the genius of coaches. He actually went for no defensive midfielder. 3 players, still 3 at the back as he's always done, as he did with Girona. But in the middle, he put 3 players that were not known for the defensive work. Banega, and in front of the Argentinian, El Mudo Vázquez, and Sarabia. And the 3 of them have been superb. Add to that, Ben Yedder, who also now feels that he's got the confidence of the coach, and he's been scoring. But those 3, and Ander Silva, of course, who was breaking records in terms of his goal scoring form in his career, the best ever so far. And you've got there a little bit of explanations of what's happening. Plus, Blakic, the goalkeeper, who's doing very well too, and Navas running up and down the right wing. Those have been absolutely crucial to Sevilla, but in the middle, those 3 is the key. Banega is in the top table of recuperations of possession when you get the possession back, recovering the ball. Top of La Liga, and he's not a defensive midfielder. Mudo Vázquez and Sarabia are players that normally play further up the field, but they understood the role and they were really hard without the ball, and with it, of course, they make an impact. So that's the keys of Sevilla. Will they be able to maintain this form? Well, what's quite clear is that we're not going to have a league of 99 or 100 points, and that the fact that the finances in La Liga have been improved has meant that the middle class of Spanish football, the likes of Sevilla certainly, are able to compete much better. So top of the table before the break, and after the break, you know what? Sevilla is playing Barcelona. So what's wrong with Barcelona and Real Madrid? Well, a lot of things. Starting with Real Madrid, I'm gonna take the whole situation away from this season and put it to something that's happened in the last 5 years. 420 million euros have been recuperated by sales of players. 420 million euros. And 410 million euros is what's been spent. That's in the last 5 years. The last Galáctico was James Rodriguez. So it's a complete transformation of the policy of Real Madrid. They're not going after Galácticos anymore. Even though they went to see if Neymar was available this summer, they just have abandoned a little bit that idea in favor of rebuilding the stadium. That's where most of the money they want to put in. Hence, the focusing on Bale as the replacement of Cristiano as the main star. They wanted that the main star to come from within. They wanted that the goals that Cristiano added every year to come from within. So they thought Marco Asensio will make a difference, Bale as well, and of course Benzema should improve on what he did last season. So they put their bet on what it might be, not so much on what it's guaranteed to be. Icardi wanted to join Real Madrid, so did Lewandowski and Cavani. The 3 of them approached Real Madrid and they said, sorry, no, we're not interested, we don't want anything. At the end, the pressure of Lopetegui, who wanted another midfielder when Kovacevic left, basically was told no more, But the pressure eventually meant that Mariano arrived, the centre forward. But it was amazing to see against Alaves there was Mariano and Vinicius, who of course is only a teenager, and those were the ones in charge of actually breaking what it was a very tight defence of Alaves at the end of the game. And that was surprising because Vinicius had actually been Real Madrid B. That was a decision of Lopetegui, but I feel that the pressure of the chairman, Florentino Perez, who spent 40 million euros on a promising player, still in search of the new Messi, as he could not get Messi, still in search of that young player that can create an era, and he thought that Vinicius could be the one. When he gets sent to Real Madrid B, I feel that Florentino Perez was not too happy. Now we see him even chosen ahead of Lucas Vázquez, for instance, against Alaves. That's what happened. So that's a bit surprising. Is Lopetegui in danger? Yes, I believe that, as you normally do, Real Madrid are ringing managers to see who is available and who isn't. There isn't many that are not in a job already, but they want to see what happens. There's no point, this Levante, Victoria in the Champions League, and then Barcelona, the Clásico. There's no point in doing anything before the Clásico. So the Clásico will dictate the future of Lopetegui. How about Barcelona? Just quickly, quite clearly, it's all down to Messi, as it's always been, but with one difference. Either because of tiredness or poor form or even injury, nobody seems to help Messi in terms of scoring and creating danger. So he has to do the job of a midfielder and of a forward. Luis Suarez, of course, we heard today from Barcelona that he's going to start to do a special treatment to recuperate the pain in the knee. That's what stopped him being at his best. Still working very hard, but he's now 6 games without scoring, and it's down to that lack of sharpness, physical sharpness. Coutinho was very shy against a Valencia that became very defensive for the last hour of the game, especially after the injury of Guedes. They attacked less, and they got the draw that really made them happy. But Barcelona seemed very, very flat, not enough depth, no players running in behind, and Coutinho, as I said, was very shy. So it was all down to Messi. Messi scored, but it's not enough for Barcelona to compete for all the competitions. They have to improve. Many may be wondering what's happening with Dembélé. Well, Dembélé basically doesn't really understand, or not fully, 2 things. According to the Shams, how to be a top professional in the modern game. That's what he said. But I add something else. He doesn't fully understand the game of Barcelona yet. So for him, it's all little odd benches, 1v1s, and trying to get big players. Not enough. Even though he started well in terms of goal scoring form, he loses a lot of possession, which unbalances Barcelona. With Arthur in the team now, you recognize his style, but it has to be more. It has to be sharper. They have to create danger from different parts, not just from Messi. Well, is what Unai Emery doing revolutionary? It's been published and written that he's transformed the club completely. But let me tell you, things are not as black and white as people would make you believe. He, of course, is doing a few things that are new in the sense that he's looking after what players eat. He's forcing that they all eat in the training ground after training. That's a way of controlling what players have, of course. He doesn't want them to have a burger after. And yes, he's giving them a lot of information, much more than they had in the past, and it's generally video information mixed with individual talks, just the kind of stuff that everybody does. I'm preparing a detailed story on what Arsenal is doing and what Unai Emery is doing at Arsenal for goal.com, so keep an eye on that, because I think you'll be interested in some of the detail that I'll be telling you. But generally, the idea is he's just working hard, but those games that he's won, and yes, it's a very, very impressive run, the games won, most of them could have been lost or draw. The fact is, though, the character of the side has helped certainly Arsenal overcome the difficulties. The leadership of some of the players, or the presence of players that have gone from not being starters to now being starters, Torreira being a classic example. The understanding of Lacazette and his role, the understanding of Aubameyang and Lacazette playing together, Welbeck also accepting his role and fighting for a place in the lineup. Those things certainly help Arsenal to improve. There wasn't too much, perhaps, rotation at the beginning because it only was one game per week. But now you're seeing that when the Europa League appears, there will be rotation, and players need to play, of course, to improve. That will happen. But all that is down to training, changing little details and improving players and correcting them as well on their decision making. Not a revolution, just a coach at work. That's all it is. But as I said, in goal.com, I'll give you more detail on all that. I'm going to tell you about one player that I'm just waiting for him to get into the first team, get minutes and impress everybody. Carlos Aleñà. He's now in the first team of Barcelona since last season. He's had problems with injuries and he will be a regular at Barcelona, give it in a couple of years. He's a midfielder of different mold to the ones to Sergio Roberto, for instance. He's able to pass, to give fluidity to the game. He's very good when they have to recover the ball. He goes to the pressure, he doesn't hide from that. He's got something else. He's got a fantastic shoot from outside the box, a fantastic left foot as well for passing. He's a top midfielder. He hasn't been given the opportunity yet because right now, as I said, injuries have stopped his progression, but he will pull the door down and find his space at Barcelona very soon. He is a midfielder that can create an era at Barcelona. He's not an Iniesta, he's not a Xavi, but he is one that can score for midfield and has got, as I said, a fantastic ability to see a pass. The kind of midfielder that Messi would like to have next to him. So give him 12 months, 18 months, and he will be there or thereabouts. I think in this season it will be difficult to see a lot of him because, of course, there is a long line of midfielders, and Arturo Vidal is claiming that he wants his time, he wants his minutes. He's really upset. That creates a little bit of tension. But of course, if you actually go from, say, Arta to Aleñà, what will happen with Arturo Vidal? Those things is what Valverde has to manage, but Aleñà, keep an eye on him. Another player that will make an impact in the first division in Spain, I'm not sure if in Barcelona, but certainly in the first division, is Abel Ruiz. Abel Ruiz is a centre forward, 1.82 m, so perhaps not the tallest, but he's been compared to Van Basten. It's wrong to make comparisons, but you can see what kind of centre forward he is. Not just one that can, but is able to hold the ball with his back to goal and be strong as well. He's one that can play in wide positions, come out as well from the box, come from deep. He's good with his headers, and he's a regular goal scorer. I think he's the best goal scorer in the under-17s in the whole history of Spain under-17s. He was part of the European Championships of under-17s. I think he scored 8 goals on that tournament. He's a guy that has always scored goals. The problem with Barcelona, of course, is that you have to be a regular goal scorer in the highest level to be able to challenge, say, the likes of Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez, who, as we said, is now out of form, out of shape, with difficulties with his knee, but nobody in the side to challenge for his position, really. And that has been one of the problems of Barcelona this season, while Paco Alcácer is scoring goals in Borussia Dortmund. But Abel Ruiz is not ready for that yet. But I reckon next year he will be playing in the first division, and he will be one of those that will be scoring goals. In fact, there are interest in England from some of the top sides to see if he would be interested in joining them. But what Barcelona did is renew his contract for 3 more years and put a buyout clause of 100 million euros. That's how much they value Abel Ruiz. You'll have to watch him play. There are videos out there, of course. He plays for Barcelona B at the moment, and yes, he will score regularly this season as well. And as I said, he'll make the jump into the first division. If not at Barcelona, on loan somewhere else. I think that's the plan for him. That's it for this week. Remember to subscribe and keep an eye on the things that are happening on the YouTube channel. There is more surprises coming your way. And next, you'll hear from us in Ask Guillem in midweek. You'll hear from me talking about some of the games that are happening this week. I will be in Sevilla, for instance, watching Spain-England. Looking forward to that. And I'll be doing also for 5 Live as the Spain-England. I'll be dealing with Wales-Spain as well. So no rest for the weekend. But for now, I'll leave you here.